Yeah, you're right.
Your mom is a fully grown woman. She can be friends with whoever she wants. However, you called my mom? But yes, with all that shenaniganry aside, since we're all gathered here today, we can actually begin. Where we last left off, as the recap of my my choice on this, was a lot of weird shit happened on the ship ride back from Dravar to Venaru.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, at one point, halfway through your journey back, the storm that blew in out of nowhere was.
Ah, we're live on the internet.
It was.
No, I mean we're streaming this.
Hello, world.
that is
Guys,
mom.
my mother is a goof.
We love mom.
She's perfect in every way. Don't diss her.
Tell me what she is. That sounds pretty interesting. 7-foot tall cat humanoid.
Yeah, she's a tabaxi.
Be allergic to her.
You would. Why do you think I'm playing a metal man? So I don't have a nose.
True, he can't be allergic to me if he can't inhale my dander.
Can't die if you're unconscious. Wait, no, you can still die.
I think what you're looking for is the NyQuil.
You can't sneeze if you're in a coma?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the Benadryl. But yes, halfway through your journey back to Venaru, a vast dark storm appeared overhead, where swirling clouds of gray and black, looking like smoke and ash, befell your ship at sea, and a very large figure crashed down onto the deck of the Shattered Star, sending it nearly capsizing. And as it righted itself, you are then face to face with the Black King himself, who made it a point to call out whichever of you would deem yourselves to be the leader of this group, sparking a small amount of controversy and, internal debate before Tyrell finally stepped forward, and doing what Tyrell does best, proceeded to annoy the living shit out of the Black King, who offered you all a deal that you hand over what he called the shards, and in return, you got to continue to live, returning to your, as he stated, pitiful lives as long as you deemed fit, and that he would not kill you. Otherwise, to refuse this offer would be met with him cutting you down where you stood, and him taking the shards by force. This was quickly overturned by the realization that he could not actually draw weapons against you. Some magical force prevented him from actually drawing any of his blades. Cadmus stepped forth, and after explaining that you were all his children, that he cared deeply for, and sought to kindle your flames as long as he was able to, cast an arc-level spell called the Arc of Permittance that seemed to encompass each of you with this bluish-green mist, almost. And the Black King was shunted off of the ship and sent just hurtling back into the sky. Cadmus was severely weakened by casting this spell, and the remainder of your journey he took resting. Eventually, you all once again made landfall, this time in White Shallow, on the western coast of Venaru, where your horses and cart were not. You departed from the ship, going about your various ideas and ventures. Elbrig was unfortunately met with a very rude blacksmith, who, realizing long ago that he cornered the market on crafting and blacksmithing, was able to jack his prices up to astronomical levels for no other reason than because he could. that Elbrig was familiar with this tactic of cornering a market and was very unhappy with it, and returned to go looking for Misted. He found Misted getting a drink at a stall, and Tyrrell eventually came and found the rest of them. Regathering yourselves, you all made your way towards what would eventually be the only inn left in town that had vacancies, which was the Sapphire's Rest. And Nomad had already been there and had acquired lodging for you all. And upon entering into this building, or into this inn, you were preceded by two cloaked figures. One very tall and very slender, and one not quite as tall, but very broad. And that's Nomad, getting up to speed with everyone, proceeded to hand the keys over, directing that one room is the third door on the left, and the other is the fifth door on the right. Heard that these two individuals were talking, and recognized their voices. Standing up to go interact with them, the shorter but wider of the two individuals quickly whipped around as Nomad approached, and a glowing glaive was then placed against Nomad's neck, which seemed very familiar to a previous interaction that Nomad had with these individuals. And the taller, more slender figure turned and addressed the other as Earthim, and stated that this individual, that Nomad, was a friend, though he may seem to appear differently. And Eartham begrudgingly lowered the glaive. And this other individual looked to be a dark elf woman with glowing red scales that lined the outsides of her body, and introduced herself as Deviris, the Scarlet Scale. And that is where we left off, and that is where we'll be picking up. So, we pick up as you are all in the Sapphire's Rest. The tiefling woman behind the counter is watching this all go down, a little bit put on edge due to the fact that a very large glaive was just suddenly brandished very quickly and was then quickly dismissed, and the situation seems to have been resolved as Deviris very, very happily announces or exclaims that she is very happy that Nomad was able to find friends, and proceeds to introduce herself to the rest of the party as Deviris. So what would you like to do?
Before that, I have some wonderful news.
You're pregnant?
Close.
Ah.
Oh no. It wasn't him.
It was not Hank the Tank. Alright.
It's my boy. He lives.
My boy
God
beat the
bless.
case. But yes, what would you all like to do? You are now standing before a dark elf and a half-orc that resembles more strongly just a straight-up orc.
Is Andrew here?
Yes, I just returned. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Misted's going to flop the big old head. Do that little cock the head motion and just dumbstruck stare. Because inebriated.
Mm.
And these people look different.
Well, that's racist, but okay.
It's not racist. She's confused.
I mean, the way that was stated, it came across.
She's inebriated. Shut up.
But you're
Oh,
not.
so you're a drunk racist.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Thanks,
Duly
guys.
noted. Misted's fault or flaw. When drunk becomes racist.
Thanks, guys.
Just go ahead and mark that down in your character sheet.
You know, I was looking for
You're
good
now
characters.
chaotic evil when you're drunk.
Ajit
Look.
has wares if you have coin, but not if you're a certain race.
Shut the fuck up. Listen, she's seen orcs before, but listen, they're just a little different.
And Eartham is quite a sight to behold. That he is in fact a half orc, completely bald, by the way, and just has a very pronounced jaw and tusks, but
Not e-
has that human physique still to a degree. So not fully orc.
You see her confusion? Thanks, guys. Thanks for making her sound racist.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a pork?
No!
Now that's fucking racist.
He's a person orc. He's a pork.
She
I'm calling the guard.
Oh, I'm not done yet. Well, I'm gonna finish that last piece later.
But, Nomad, one thing that you notice of taking count of heads is that there's obviously one missing from this group.
Well, that might be for the best.
The smallest one is missing from this group.
Nomad would... Let's see. What would Nomad do?
That is the question. What would
That is
any
the
of you do?
question. I think after a brief pause, as Nomad always does, he would ask, "What are you two doing in White Shallow?"
And Deveris looks to Eartham, and Eartham just kind of steps back a little bit. And she looks back to your group. Well, we're on our way to Abcassis. Well, first we're on our way to Timberfall to collect Madras. We'll be on our way to Abcassis to go visit with, well, the other two former members of our adventuring party. We looked for them in Delvixnum, but it seems that they have been held in Abcassis for the foreseeable future.
Remembering who the other two members of their party would be,
Mm-hmm.
Nomad would kind of sort of do that Nomad's thinking for a moment. Has something happened?
Processing.
We've been away from Vanaru for the better part of a month.
And you see her stop and, well, there's always something happening, Nomad, but it seems that a lot of issues have arose, and in particular, the King and Queen are quite busy dealing with, well, whatever it is that's going on in the world right now. Oris is obviously dealing with matters outside of Vanaru's borders and keeping the peace between. And Sinfori is quite busy handling the Blood Onyx and all matters here within. It's become quite hectic. So we're hoping to, the three of us, travel and go pay them a visit and perhaps see what we can do to help. It's been several months since we've actually seen them. It is during this time that the young tiefling woman behind the desk just, excuse me, and the two of them turn around and, yes, oh, right, of course. And she begins to dole out the casuals. Just, well, this will be for your room. And gives them the price, and Deveris just nods, opens up her cloak, and shows some kind of object to the woman. And the tiefling woman kind of looks shocked, quickly bows, and proceeds to just hand him the key free of charge. which DeVeers is the one that takes the key, and thanks her.
All right. Newly learned fact: flashing your tits gets you free room and board in Gennaro.
This is Nomad's thought process, and you cannot convince me otherwise.
It's a shame that Nomad happens to not have those.
Nobody does have a nice pair of shiny metal ass cheeks.
I wonder what that would get him.
A free polish.
Nice.
I think you're missing the bigger point, is Nomad could get those installed into the armor.
He can. That's the really sad part, he could.
It won't.
But DeVeers then turns to the rest of you and just... I get the feeling we are heading to the same destination.
Nomad.
Tyrell would speak up and just say, well, we are now.
And you see her turn to Eartham, and Eartham just... If you insist. DeVeers just smiles and nods. Would you mind accompanying us?
Not at all, Nomad says, without thinking even, for a second.
As Tyrell looks at you like, wait.
And DeVeers just nods to Nomad. It would make me feel better. I prefer traveling in larger groups. It's especially during the day. I can't see too well. So having many extra pairs of eyes and ears makes me feel a bit more comfortable.
Can we just say that canonically right now Elbrig is passed out face down on the table?
he's probably passed out face down in Samson, but yeah.
Fair enough.
That's
Somebody
true.
make sure he's not
see-
suffocating.
That's true. He did
Samson
have the
is
improvement.
the table.
No, but really though, somebody please make sure that he's not suffocating.
He'll be fine.
Albert just said something. I'm fine.
See, he's fine.
And you just hear loud snoring. He's just draped over Samson's back.
Elbrig is many things. I don't think fine is one of them.
No, he's fine. Trust me, he's fine.
Here,
Yes.
he's fine.
DeVeers then gives a very courteous bow to the rest of you. And, well, Eartham, you need to get some rest. We've been traveling for quite some time, and you need to rest. And Eartham just kind of looks at the entire group of you, and then looks at DeVeers. Just, I assure you, I will be fine. Get some rest. And he just takes the key from her, and then you just hear thunk, 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 thunk as he heads upstairs. So, what would you all like to do?
Misted needs to clean.
Okay.
I can't. I
I think
cannot recall.
Nomad would watch Eartham go and then sort of just... And then after a minute would say, he's as sociable as I remember.
Yeah, so Misted, you would like to have a bath?
Yeah, Misted is patting her fur, and she's decided that she's yucky. She's had enough. It's time.
Okay.
I cannot remember if Misted was handed the little portal key thingy or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Misty has a key.
Misty has a key. Misty's going to tromp off in the direction that she assumes her room would be in.
Third door on the left or fifth door on the right?
It's an either or situation.
It's neither or.
Going to the door on the right. Off we get.
All right. How do you open the door?
I don't know. Misted's going to take the little plate looking thing.
Okay.
Look at it. Look at the door.
There does not seem to be a door handle.
Misted's going to touch the plate to the door.
Okay. A glyph shows up on the door. slowly vanishes, and the door opens.
Most excellent. Misted goes in. Slam!
All right, who's rooming with Misted?
Albrig.
Right.
I'm leaving him out there for a minute. Misted needs to be clean.
Okay. Well, it is a
He's
very
fine.
extravagant-looking room.
Do I find my tub?
There are 2 beds that are very well placed apart. There is, in fact, what looks to be a small kitchen-type setup. And there is even a closed-off section with a bathtub. That there is a door that actually has a handle this time. And opening, and you
Yes,
go into a room, and
candles.
there are candles lit to illuminate the room, and there is a bathtub in there with water already drawn.
Misted's going to tap the water with her fingy. Is it warmy? Is it
I mean,
cozy?
it's water.
Yeah, but is it cold or is it room tempy?
It's probably room temp.
Well, the cat will see you later.
Okay. Tyrell, what would you like to do this evening?
The first thing is Tyrell will just let Nomad know that he needs to talk to him later. And then probably get a drink.
Okay. Where would you like to go get a drink? Because this is just an inn.
I know. One of the bars I saw, one of the taverns.
Okay. So you'd venture off to go to a tavern?
Yeah, one of the closest ones.
Alright. You'd successfully find a tavern, which is bustling with a lot of noise, and in fact, you see Tempest and the Renegades there. Already pretty deep into their drinks. Minus Tempest, who is on stage performing and accruing money.
I continue with one hand just slightly covering my coin purse.
She's not a thief. But yeah, I would say for you it'd probably be about 5 silvers worth of alcohol.
Oh, you go so little. Well, first off, I ask if they have anything special here. That's special to them.
Well, yeah,
What is it?
it's called the White Rock Special. It's a whiskey.
I take a bottle.
It's a whiskey, 5 silver.
I take it.
Alright. I knew what I was going for.
Oh,
And
did
I
you?
knew what you were going for, too.
Yes.
Alright. And Nomad.
Mhm.
What else would you like to do this evening?
Nomad would probably spend the rest of the evening before turning in, introducing his friends to Deveris and giving her a rundown on the events of his travels.
Okay. By the way, this could also take the better part of the entire evening, as neither one of you actually needs to sleep.
Fair enough.
And it seems that during their travels when Eartham had to take a rest, she instead meditated. And began to just rest that way.
Mhm.
So you have the entire evening to talk and spend time together. So that being said, eventually Albrig is let into the room. I would hope so.
Maybe.
No. He's hung out to dry.
You'd at least let Samson in the room, right?
Oh, you know I would. Samson and me are chill.
Okay. So yeah, Albrig would come into the room on draped over top of Samson.
Indeed, indeed. And Misted would hoist him and yeet him into his bed.
Okay.
And the man does not stir.
All right. Anything else for you guys this evening? I'm gonna go ahead and take that as a no.
Yeah, I'd say I'm covered pretty good. As he brings a bottle back with him.
All right. At this point, I would say it is about 9 o'clock in the morning. By the time everyone's conversations and whatnot have concluded, and Deveris offers to take a rest as well before the journey begins again into the early hours of the morning. And about 9 o'clock in the morning, everyone begins to wake and rouse. And what would you all like to do as the morning greets you all?
The first thing I would do is talk to Nomad.
All right.
Is
Nomad would.
Nomad in the room, or did he stay down?
Uh, hmm.
I would
If
believe that Deveris would go to hers and Eartham's room for her to take her time to
Yeah, I was gonna
relax.
say if she retired to their room, then Nomad would also retire to the room with Daryl. So yeah, Nomad's in the room.
Alright. Zero will just kind of look over and call out Nomad and see if you're actually paying attention or if you're in one of those states.
In one of his fugue states.
Yes.
Nomad would look up and say, yes.
Okay. So, I'm assuming you know those people somehow.
Nomad would then say, I met them in Zerdo when I was traveling to... God, I forget the name of the port in Zerdo that we set off from. Hold on. This is why I have World Anvil bookmarked.
Well,
Ah, yes. When I was traveling through Zerdo to get to Saltwash, I met them a little outside of Zurith's claim. At the time, I was traveling with my companion, who we met back in Deepmire. Galzik. I had to think for a second to remember his name.
Yes, the bogweed incident.
listen. That's it. Just listen.
I'm feeling very personally attacked right now.
I'm still mad about the turtle. All right.
Okay.
Or I
You can
almost
be
turned
mad.
Beelzebub into a soup.
Listen. Listen. He's not a soup. You cannot.
No,
Nomad
he's
would
probably. He became an alligator snack.
Nomad would continue and say, at the time they were also accompanied by their friend Madras, who, if I recall correctly, the three of them, along with Oris and Sinfori, were once an adventuring party.
That's at least somewhat good. So what all did you end up telling her for our stuff?
I think Nomad would have told her the general details of his travels, but not the most concerning parts.
Okay.
Specifically,
He explains it.
he probably would have omitted he probably would have omitted the fact that the Black King has been resurrected. The fact that there are less gods in the world than there were when he started this journey, and the fact that, you know, generally he would have omitted the most important and concerning facts from this story.
Okay.
Tactfully, of course. And he wouldn't have told any lies, but he would have,
Omitted certain truths.
yes, in order to not alarm his friend, who he's just met for the first time again after probably close to half a year at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's been about 5.5 months.
All right. Tiro would look at you and just say, that's all well and fine. He simply has one question for you.
Yes.
And he would simply say, so as far as we know, the Black King found us somehow out in the water. It's safe to say, probably he can track these shards. How exactly are we to travel with people if he might just, pop in?
Matt would kind of think for a moment. And then just turn to Tyrell and say, regardless of us traveling with them or not, this possibility of that happening still remains.
Oh, yes, I'm very much well aware of that.
If that's the case, would it not be better to have more hands?
Depending on how powerful those hands are, I guess. It's really either more hands or more fodder for him to cut through. There's really no in between there.
Matt would kind of think for a second and say, I'm fairly certain they can take care of themselves.
All right. If you are certain, I see no issue with it. I was just double checking. Although we should look into a way to maybe try to hide the presence of these things. Might make traveling a little easier if we're not, sky bombed again.
Are you calling out the man drop?
Yes.
Coward.
It was not cowardice.
That was terrifying.
Exactly.
Hippity hoppity, the world is my property.
Except for my boat, motherfucker.
Basically, yeah. So, what would you two like to do?
I would just say that. Simply let him ponder on it and then just tell him, I'm going to find food. And walk away with my whiskey bottle in hand.
All right. Food being acquired and 5 copper pieces being deducted from your total. Yeah. I will go ahead and say that about an hour passes and everyone is gathered and ready to depart.
Mm-hmm.
Where Devirus has actually pulled her hood down over her face to better shield her eyes from the sunlight. And Eartham seems recharged and refreshed and is rather imposing, as he always is. And proceeds to, without a word, just begins to walk north. So, what would you all like to do?
I start to follow the big guy.
Alright. And
Yep.
Misted?
He seems like he knows where he's going. Hopefully.
Now that the cat has been cleaned, Misted?
Misted is going to stroll back out, look for her companions. Companions, hello? Nomad? Jiro? Where did you go?
The implication is that you were
Yeah, that
fed
you were-
and rested and joined with us.
Yes. That is the implication.
Okay.
I was asking if there was anything you would like to do before you all depart.
No, that's pretty much it. Misted was just really worried about being clean.
Okay.
She spent way too long on a boat. Upset cat.
Alright. Well, from small talk and discussion with Devirus and Eartham prior to leaving, to make it to Timberfall will probably be about a 4-day journey on foot, as they also notice that you do not have any means of otherwise transport, and that to keep a safe pace will take about 5 days. At a hurried pace will probably take about 4 to 3.5 days.
How fast does Eartham seem to be going?
Eartham is going at a reasonable pace, as he is almost as armored as Nomad is,
Fair enough.
if not probably a bit more.
Probably more, honestly.
Yeah. But it is hard to tell because it is covered by the cloak. Yeah, he's going at a reasonable pace.
Oh, I say the idea is we're traveling with them, so we just mimic their pace.
All right.
I don't know if that's everyone else's decision, but that's what I would think.
Yeah.
All right. The first stop upon this journey would be traveling from White Shallow to Sunder Hollow, which is a town or a village that Misted is quite familiar with, as it is at the base and just south of the Stone Talon Mountains. And that during this journey, the journey to Sunder Hollow, it is marked with the lush blooming of vibrant flowers and swaying of grasses, that you can even see fuzz bugs grazing in the distance.
Oh.
Yeah. As the, oh no.
Who's a good little bug?
Oh no. They're in the distance, Nomad. Nomad, distance, no! But, the fuzz bugs are those rather large creatures with the 6
Yeah.
legs. But, the wind gently touches upon the fields and trees that dot the landscape. The smell of soil and drifting fragrance of flowers is comforting in its persistence, and the only sounds are those of the various bugs and animals that can be heard. There is the occasional cottage or homestead dotted infrequently along the road, nestled into a grove of trees or built upon a raised hillside. Misted remembers this stretch of road fondly, as Valdry would often take the children along this road for ventures into White Shallow or Saloris for supplies, or even just for a small adventure for the children that they would come to enjoy.
Adventure.
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 that this does in fact bring back very fond memories of your childhood, Misted, growing up with Valdry.
I once chased the majestic fuzzbugs, eager to ride them.
They do
But
not
he
run.
said no.
They don't run, they roll.
They roll.
I didn't say that I ever caught them. I said I chased them. I wanted to ride them. But father said no. He said, no, don't do that. You'll die.
Well, that from memory, Misted never caught any, but she was allowed to approach one, and it was very docile and very gentle. Did not spook very easily, but was very elephant-like in its concerns of, I don't want to step on it, I don't want to step on it, I don't want to step on it. But that, as days pass, Nomad and DeVirus tend to be the ones to keep watch for most of the night, as neither one seems to sleep. And DeVirus is more attuned to the nighttime, as it is more comfortable for her. And that as your journey continues on, several days pass of walking down this winding road, seeing the occasional traveling merchant with their carts full of wares to be sold heading towards Abcassis, or those returning from with their wares completely sold out. You see the occasional marching group of Blood Onyx quickly outpacing your group as they are in apparently a bit of a hurry. And after a few days of travel, of continuing on the road, you all eventually find yourselves entering into Sunder Hollow. It has been about 3.5 days. And you find yourselves entering into Sunder Hollow, which is a small village that serves as the gateway between Dranice Forest and Silivor's fields. Not much can really be found here, aside from a guardhouse for the Blood Onyx and any of the traveling Night Fang. There is a tavern here called the Mouse Hole. Yes, I said that correctly. You heard that correctly. The Mouse Hole.
Ow. I didn't realize Jerry was out there.
Mm. Yes, it is a very quaint little tavern that's seen some wear and tear, but otherwise seems very well constructed, very welcoming. And what would you all like to do? You can either push on for the remainder of the evening, if you would like, or you can stop and rest here. As it is currently about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun will be setting in about 2 hours.
The party is startled by the sound of a growling cat tummy.
So, Misted, what would you like to do? Tyrrell, Nomad.
What time is it?
It is currently about 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Probably time to take a rest for the evening then.
Yep, approaching evening.
Misted are hungry.
Alright, Tyrrell.
If everyone decides on taking a rest, Tyrrell is going to the mouse hole.
Alright. It looks to be the only place in town that is not a homestead. Or the guardhouse. So you all would... Well, Tyrrell's heading to the mouse hole. What about the rest of you?
Nomad would probably also head to the mouse hole.
Okay, Misted.
Yep. Misted's off in search of food.
All right, and Devirus and Eartham would also join you all, and so you head into the mouse hole. As you step in, it is a very warm place. Not necessarily like hot, but it is very homely. Like the wood is aged and worn. There is a fireplace that is very low burning, but seems to be meant to continue burning for a while, as opposed to just burning hot and quickly. And at the front of this, or at the back of this tavern, there is in fact a bar where you see a human male leaned over the bar and a gnome, a male gnome, standing upon the what looks to be either a chair or on the actual counter itself. You can't really see. And is currently in the middle of a rather stern conversation with this young male, human. And the human looks very very weary and a bit torn up. And you hear the gnome loudly saying, "No, no, no. I refuse to give you any more requests or jobs or bounties. Come and see me in 2 days. Get some rest, eat some food. You've not had a break in weeks. Dinra, I will not see you suffer, no matter how much you feel you deserve it." And he's just following this human with his finger. Now, eat and sleep. I'll have work for you again in 2 days. I don't want to see you working again until then. Understand? And the human just kind of quietly nods and turns around to leave, and you can all see there are fresh scars and dirt stains all over his face and arms. His skin is burnt brown from long hours in the sun, and his eyes are very sunken and darkened. And as he leaves, he turns to you all and, "Very sorry about that. Welcome to the mouse hole. How can I help you? What can I get you started with? Are you looking for a room, or what can I help you with?"
Misted's going to stroll up and I was hoping to get a bite to eat.
Yes, of course. And for your companions, friends, strangers?
Uh, Companions. And Misted's going to look back over her shoulder at her buds.
You
What
have
are my
just
buds
said
doing?
companions. I'm the only one here. Gaslight the innkeeper. Do it, you won't.
I will not.
So the innkeeper looks very much like the picture of health. The human is the one that looks all fucked up.
Oh, I didn't say anything about that. I just said that you should gaslight the innkeeper because it would be funny.
Why are you gonna gaslight the gnome?
Listen, Pitch, we've
If you
been over this.
gaslight a gnome, is it called gnome lighting?
Oh my god. Anyways,
Anyway,
Nomad is kind of waiting for Tyrrell to make a move, so to speak.
If the cat is done doing her thing, then Tyrrell would step up.
okay. And the gnome looks up. "Oh, you're blue. Well, never mind that. What can I get
very
for you?"
Tyrrell just gives him a look of, just kind of looks him dead at him. Is like, is that a bad thing?
No, of course not. Of course not. This whole time he has a very warm smile on his face the entire time.
Yeah, he just gets a raised eyebrow.
very good.
And tell him I want a plate of food and what is, if they have any, what is like an interesting drink option they have.
And you see him just kind of nod and think for a moment. Well, there's a lot of odd drinks in the world, don't you think? Every drink could be odd, or special, or unique, or different.
What is one that is special to you here?
Oh, to me here? Well, that's the honey mead.
Well, then I will take a cup of honey mead.
Right away. And he,
And on top of that, with everything else, I assume that Tyrol would kind of look back at the other two that we're traveling with, and everyone just say, what, 3 rooms, 2 beds apiece if you have it?
he just kind of looks over his shoulders and he sees Eartham and Devirus, and just 3 rooms, of course, yes, of course, of course. And he just kind of looks at them and gives a very short bow, which he's already short, so it's just a very quick little.
So it's not short, it's just bow.
It's a very quick bow. He. And just gives a very polite bow. Just, I'll have those rooms prepared immediately. And your food will be out shortly. And you see him just claps, and you just hear this coming from the back. And then another gnome pops their head around the corner. Yeah? And he relays the order to them, and you see them just, yeah, and scuttles off. And you start hearing the clattering and clanging from the back.
Are they doing the really weird quick walk?
Yes, they scuttle, okay?
Tyrol just watches them scuttle with deadly intent.
And you see Devirus step up to the counter as the gnome begins to try and step up. Just a moment, please. And he just stops and, yes, ma'am? She just looks at him. Topsy, what was that just then? And you see him just kind of look at her and look towards the door, towards the human that had left. He's like, it's Denra. You remember Denra? And she nods. Of course. He's like, well, he lost his husband a few months back and took it rather harshly. I've been telling him to go to the temple to get some help, but he refuses, saying he'll mourn in his own way. It's just been driving himself, doing tasks and quests and anything he possibly can. He's been doing it for months now, every day. He won't rest. And I fear he won't rest until he finally rests. And we don't want that for him, but there's not much else I can do to help him. And she just nods and, all right. How much was it for the rooms? He's like, oh, well, it'll be a silver, Devirus. And she goes, okay. You see her reach in to a pouch, and she pulls out a coin and hands it to him. And he just, no, it's a silver. She goes, oops. Well, I suppose it's an accident of good luck, isn't it? And proceeds to then sit down at a table. As it looks to it, she has handed him a platinum piece. And you now also know the innkeeper's name is Topsy.
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 Perfection.
But as the evening presses on, your food and drink are all brought out to you. And Topsy is the one that delivers it to you personally. Your rooms would be on the same floor, but they are easily accessible. And you are all there to enjoy your evening. So is there anything else you would like to do this evening?
Well, other than enjoying all of the noms, it's going to be sketching and doodling in her little book.
I thought you said all of the gnomes for a second. I was like, what?
Yes, Mista did sketchy things with all of the gnomes. You caught her.
How many gnomes
my
can I
God.
fit?
Too many is the answer.
I mean, she is a giant cat,
That's what I'm saying, bro.
and cats are known for being flexible, so I want to say at least 12.
Hang on, I forgot to roll a D100 to find out.
Well, go ahead and roll that D100, I guess.
Yeah, I'll get right on that. But other than that, Mista would be sketching in her little booklet.
The answer is 49.
That's way too many. Goodness.
Oh my God. 47! My girlfriend sucked 47 dicks! In a row?
I think I would rather that than at once.
You've seen Clerks, come on.
No. Anyways, pressing on. Is there anything else any of you would like to do for the evening?
Just noms. And writing and sketching.
Okay. Tyrrell,
Having a good
Nomad.
time.
Tyrrell eats his food, drinks the specialty alcohol, and continues to drink more, and still questions the Topsy on why he was confused about me being blue.
Because you're blue.
So
Why are you blue?
Dabba-dee-dabba-die.
Now listen up, here's a story about a blue tiefling who lives in a doomed world.
Anyways.
Not
so
wrong.
if he does that, I want what I told you about to happen.
No.
Yes.
No. It's not happening.
Yes.
None of that happened.
Yes.
Moving on.
It happened.
Moving on.
It happened.
But anyways, is there anything else you guys would like to do? It is not a very large village. And it is such a small village that it seems that even DeViris is on first name basis with just the innkeeper. So
I can't think of anything that Nomad would do other than, his usual stuff that he does.
okay, so investigating around at night.
Mhm.
Yeah, and DeViris would actually join you for that.
It's a new place. Nice place to have a nighttime walk.
You do
I will say,
notice.
unrelated to the campaign, but
Uh-oh.
related to the fact that honey was mentioned earlier. You guys heard about the new Winnie the Pooh film coming out soon called Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey?
No.
Is it the one that's supposed to be the horror Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, it's the
Where he's
slasher
like a
film where
murderer?
Winnie the Pooh and
Yep.
pigs become murderers. I wish I was making this up.
You were too.
Anyways, while you are adventuring around, DeViris actually takes some moments and seems intent on going to what she states is Dinra's home to just kind of check on him and make sure he's there. That is fucking horrifying.
Are you looking it up, Rebel?
I'm over it.
No. But you do, in fact, hear Dinra sleeping loudly inside of his house, as the snoring is quite abundant and quite prevalent. And it seems to put her a bit more at ease. And she begins to wander around with you, listening in, talking. And she also reveals that this was originally not even a village at all. That this was really just a startup for the guards, the Blood Onyx and the Night Fang. And then eventually, Topsy one day just decided to build a tavern there. And then other people just started showing up and building homes. And they helped to maintain the barracks, the guardhouse, and offer trade and supplies for whatever the Blood Onyx may need, sending them off to wherever they may need to go. And that this also functions as a gateway between the two sections, the Drunice Forest and the Silivor Fields. So it also serves as a way of a halfway point between the two. But nothing really of note happens. And yeah. Is there anything else you guys would like to do for the evening?
Yeah. Other than revel in how horrifying that Winnie the Pooh picture is.
Hmm.
It's really bad, honestly. Holy fuck.
But I will say that on that note, we'll take a short 5-minute break. we have returned. Is everybody alive?
Nope.
Nay, I am deceased.
Yep.
Andrew, have you died as well?
Yeah, you fell into a coma and we've all died in the meantime.
Interesting.
In fact, if you want to look outside, you will see that in fact there are no living creatures in the entire world except for you. Congratulations, you are the final surviving member of the human race.
Haha, I win!
You do. Guess what you win?
Sadness.
Exactly.
Alright. So, as the next morning greets you all,
Hold on, is Andrew actually here?
I was killed by the picture of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh God.
as
Accurate.
the
That explains what. Well, that explains what happened to us. It's canon.
as the next morning greets you all, and you all gather about and go about your business, what would you all like to do this morning?
Well, as soon as the sun's up, Misted's going to tromp out of the room, go get some brekkie,
Okay.
and wait for her companions.
Tyrell, Nomad, what would you like to do this morning?
Figured start off the morning with some good old Pilates and then go get breakfast.
I'm sorry. Did I hear correctly in that Tyrell is going to do Pilates?
Don't even know what they are. Don't worry about it.
Also, you're saying a little bit distant.
Okay, hold on. Does that make it better?
Not terribly so, but
Does it make it better now?
yes.
Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. So
Wunderbar.
you would all wake up and move out, and as you enter into the lobby of this tavern, you find that on the bar is a full breakfast to be picked and taken from however you wish. There's an assortment of meats, breads, and this strange thing called pancakes. Mm.
Pancakes.
And there are drinks aplenty.
Misted needs a heaping helping of all of it.
And Topsy is there, and is currently cleaning up all the tables and dusting off chairs and whatnot, and greets you with a very hearty and warm good morning.
Good morning, Topsy.
I trust you all slept well.
Like a rock.
And you hear another clattering come from the back. And he just, Tipsy, okay? And all you hear is, I'm fine. All right.
Misted's gonna give a puzzled look. Are they really okay?
He just looks over and, I really hope so.
Do you need to check on them?
I probably should. And scuttles off behind.
Misted's going to look around and see if he left any of the tables uncleared.
I mean, the tables are cleaned.
Good enough. Misted's going to continue to num num.
Okay. Tyrell, Nomad, what else would you all like to do this morning?
Tyrrell is doing Tyrrell things.
I don't know what that means. Describe it to me, please.
Fuckery.
Please describe it to
Chaos
me.
and fuckery.
Now I'm very concerned. Please describe it to me.
You don't need to know about it.
I do need
He's
to
the
know
D-
about it.
He's the DM.
All
He
you
literally
need-
does.
All you need to know is that it's happening.
Oh my.
You know what? You are absolutely right.
Oh no, what have you done? Tyrell!
I have done absolutely nothing.
So, as you all finish up eating and gathering about in the morning,
And watching others eating.
indeed, it is now 10 o'clock in the morning, as you all would, I'd assume, set out again. With Topsy and the other one that is named Tipsy, wishing you all a farewell journey and good tidings. And I believe that means you would all be setting out again.
Mhm.
Wonderful. After about 4 hours of walking, you find yourselves in a location very familiar to Misted, which is the base of the Stone Talon Mountains.
I guess you want to see another magic trick.
Certainly.
How much you want to bet we die if we run into a wall this time?
Yeah.
The party doesn't need to know that.
DeVeers doesn't get that joke. Neither does Eartham.
Well, that's just no fun.
But as you all approach the base of this mountain, you see that there is a passway between the two, where there is the eastern mountain, which rises up higher, and as Misted would remember, that is the way to go to her home, Stone Talon Peak. And on the western side is a much smaller mountain, more like a very glorified hill, but it is a mountain nonetheless. And as you approach, you see an individual standing in the road.
Why is he standing in the room?
What would you all like to do?
Who's the bitch in the room?
Nomad, Tyrrell,
Tyrrell would like to see if he can see the person in the road.
you can clearly see a person in the road.
Can I make out any details about them?
Looks like a person.
Yes, I would tell the others there's a person in the road up ahead.
Mistin's going to just lower her head in absolute shame.
You see DeVeers looking around like, I can't see anything.
I don't. Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, there's a person up there.
And she just nods and, okay, well, what do they want?
We haven't got that far yet. I will let you know, unless they try to kill us. We know what they want.
At the mention of if they try and kill us, you hear the clinking of the glaive move.
Yes,
Yeah.
I see he's ready. I like this idea.
I'm just gonna go make sure that's not the case. And Misted is about to jet the fuck off.
Okay. Do you like to run up to this individual?
Misted would like to run up to this individual.
Okay. Looks
Because
to be...
they're just standing there, right? Not walking in either direction.
Nope. They're just standing there.
Yeah, Misted's gonna jog up this individual.
Looks to be a human male.
Do they look concerned? Do they look confused? Do they look lost?
As you all approach, he kind of puts a hand up.
Misted's gonna skid to a halt.
Stop.
Hello?
You have violated the law.
Surrender your
Listen.
possessions. No.
Betray I'm the law.
No, you're not.
They don't need to know that.
Pretty sure he knows that. You're not dressed like a full blood onyx.
Shh, he doesn't need
You're
to
only
know.
partially dressed like a blood onyx.
It's good enough, my dude. It's good enough.
And you see him just put a hand up and halt, halt, please stop.
Skidding to a halt.
Hello?
He's like, I really hate to say this, but the passing is blocked for right now.
What do you... Misted's going to look around. What do you mean blocked?
It looks very open, like very clear of things. It's like, it's going to be dangerous in just about a minute to pass.
Radar ears going. Do I hear anything?
Roll a perception check.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
No.
26.
Yes.
Oh no.
What do I hear?
Yes.
So, are you ready?
Do tell.
I'm not.
You hear from underground, from the eastern side, you hear the padding of hundreds of little feet,
Oh no.
skittering and clawing around. And the man is literally standing there with both hands up and just watches. And as he finishes stating this and you start to listen in, hundreds of kobolds begin to flood out from a hole beneath the eastern mountain's base.
Dear Lord.
I'm talking probably somewhere at first glance, probably somewhere around 200 to 300 kobolds.
Jeepus Christ.
And they begin to, like a surging wave of these hundreds of little kobolds. They start to quickly run and scamper across the divide between the two mountains. And each one is holding what looks to be some kind of sack full of, one can only guess what. And some of them are carrying tools and like pickaxes and other very strange looking things. And each one is as they scamper across this divide, running towards a hole on the western mountain's base. And among them, you see as these hundreds of kobolds continuously just keep flooding out of this mountain into this other hole. You see occasionally just the oddly colored one, but very quickly glimpse as it passes from one hole and like kind of like navigates this just flood of kobolds. You see what looks to be a very small, feral-looking red dragonborn.
What?
Who is mixed up into the group and is just following them along. And you see the man just kind of look out and just, I'm very sorry, but this event could possibly take several hours. They're not very coordinated. If you don't mind waiting for a while to ensure that they're all done, it would be much appreciated.
Misted plops her ass in the center of the road, yanks out the sketchbook, and begins to sketch the great migration of tiny people.
The Kobold Crossing.
Correct.
Behold, you now get to witness, in total, 1,470 kobolds.
What the fuck?
And as this is all occurring, Devirus just kind of leans up and, well, we can either wait here for the next 6 hours or so, Or we could perhaps try and find another way. So, what would you all like to do?
This is pretty entertaining, though. It wouldn't be a dull 6 hours, that is for sure.
Misty's pretty content to watch the kobolds.
Tyrrell sits over there and just goes, I wonder what would happen if you give them alcohol.
Nomad just says, no.
But I could give them
No.
dragon's fire.
No.
Oh, no.
No.
By everything kobolds go.
No.
Yes.
We should befriend the red one. He seems like an alright guy.
Daryl.
So, Misted's gonna look over at our kobold crossing guard. So, do you guard this pass often for them? Did you know this was coming?
He just nods, and they're not very smart, but whatever they happen to drop along the way is free game to pick up. Mostly it's bugs. Sometimes it's rocks. Sometimes it's, well, you don't want to know. So, but this one possibly could take somewhere between 6 to 9 hours. As again, they're not very coordinated.
The fact that you can tell me how long this takes
I've been doing
means
this for
that you
15
had
years.
to. Okay. So you had to have counted one of these times.
He just nods. Yeah. We had a lot of issues where people try to cross through them, and they don't end up making it to the other side. Many times they get stuffed into the hole alongside them, and that causes a backup, or in the best case scenario, it just kills them quickly.
Traffic jam.
Oh, okay. That's the best case scenario.
And it's at this moment you kind of watch as 4 of them try to squeeze into the hole at the same time, and they all get stuck, and you see like the entire rest of the group just kind of collapse into this like just stagnant wave.
God. It's a blood clot.
And you just hear the
I think you made a
no,
blood
this is
clot.
mine. And
Dear Lord.
Makes me wonder what would happen if I threw a gold coin out there.
and you see the man turn around. Please don't.
Oh.
And he
Did
just
you
wanders
experiment this
over.
already?
He wanders over and grabs one by the legs and quickly pulls it out and lets it go. And then just like quickly like steps backwards and just hey, who touch? Don't touch! No touch! And then the traffic jam gets stopped or gets going again. And they, begin to flood into the hole again.
So this is what you've done for 15 years.
And he just looks at you. I never said it was a glorious life.
My friend, I shall call you the crown of kobolds. There is no other way.
So, would you all like to sit here and watch this for the next possibly 9 hours?
Tyrrell finds a nearby stick and see what happens if he pokes a kobold.
Don't clothesline the poor thing.
I'm not gonna clothesline it, but like when a traffic jam happens, you can poke one of them with it.
So I need you to roll initiative against 1,740 kobolds, and each one can cast Meteor Swarm.
I don't know about Meteor Storm, but they sure can all cast fucking Firebolt.
Meteor Swarm.
I'm just saying, even if they all only manage to get one hit off, doing 1 damage, goodbye, Tyrell.
Yep. Goodbye, literally anything in the game.
No, they just all just rear back and start biting at Tyrell.
Yeah, he would still die.
It is a group
No,
of
they
about
bite the
60 of
stick.
them.
No, they just bite the stick and then I throw it and they get distracted.
They aren't dogs, Tyrell.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Kobolds are people, too.
all right. This is hurting my finger clicking this many die. So but yes, the option is: would you all like to sit here and watch this whatever magical catastrophe this is, or yes, I know, magical catastrophe.
I'm about
Or Devirus does offer the chance of going around and finding another way.
Are any of these kobolds versed in wild magic?
No.
Well, after a little while of Misted sketching the running of the bolts, Misted would in fact stand up and, yeah, maybe we should go ahead and get going.
Okay. Tyrell, Nomad, would you like
Nomad.
to bear witness to the entire migration of the bolds?
Nomad is kind of going to look at Misted, and then at the continuing swarm of kobolds, and then at Misted, and just say, "How?"
What do you mean?
He just gestures at the kobolds. How?
It is very loud, by the way.
Oh, please tell me it's like a fucking New York City construction site right now.
Basically.
The whole ass stampede.
And it
You can hear
also
nothing but the
smells
lunch break.
really bad.
Oh.
So
Misted
for those of you with a nose, it's getting pretty pungent. For Nomad, he doesn't know what you're talking about.
What about
What is smell? But Misted is going to snap her fingers, and there will be some thaumaturgy, and she's going to shout and project in Nomad's direction. We should find a way around.
Nomad would glance around. Is there any way to circumvent this that would take less time than waiting?
Perhaps around the western side of the mountain. To go around the eastern side would take you probably a couple days, but the western one seems a bit smaller, so it'd probably only take like maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Plus, we can walk next to the stampede for a moment.
We must cross through this.
I don't fancy getting that close to them.
Well, not next to, but you know what I mean. Alongside, at a reasonable distance, and watch them go.
By the way, there's a moment while you guys are discussing this that you see 3 of them just kind of stop in the middle and just like stare at the ground, like tails
Oh, no.
raised up, just staring at the ground.
Oh no, someone dropped something interesting?
It's a bug.
Oh, fuck. Car crash.
Wait, I've got it. We take some gold coins and throw it to one end, and then we cross while they're confused.
In that moment, you see one just kind of and eats the bug.
Oh, God.
And the other 2
It's
just start
fine.
yelling at him. Like, oh, come on! And then it proceeds again. But yeah, it looks like there might be a way around this towards the western mountain. So, what would you like to do?
Misted would like to try to go around the western side.
Okay. Nomad?
Nomad would wait to see what Tyrell does.
Watching intently the fuckery.
Dear God, please don't put this in Tyrell's hands.
Well, I have some bad news. God isn't here. It's just me, and I'm putting it in Tyrell's hands.
Oh no.
Well. So, what would you like to do?
Do not.
Watch the fuckery.
Misted's going to reach out, grab my lovely blue tiefling friend, and start dragging him west.
Cyril is going to firmly plant his boots and not move a single.
We can strength check if you want to, bro, but I got you. We're going.
Bet right now.
I'm on it. Mr. DM, would it be a strength check to try and pick this little bastard up?
It'd be
I
a
think
strength check versus a strength check.
Wouldn't it be athletics for grappling?
I don't know. They're going based on pure strength.
She goes based on pure strength. I can either go on strength to counter or dexterity to try to slip away.
Better pick one, bro.
I'm going to use my dex to try to slip away.
Oh, unfortunately, low roll, but yours was
6 to a 13.
You're
You're
coming
going with the cat.
Oh yes, but I misty stepped back to the line and watched it happen.
And Misted does something you've never seen before. Do you know what Misted does?
Mm.
She Misty steps right to you, bro.
Okay. We'll go for another check. Come on.
We going again, boys? Are you ready?
During this, Nomad's going to turn to Devirus and say,
You're coming with me. It's the 22. Nat 20. We're going.
Nomad would turn to Devirus and say, well, what do you think we should do?
And you see Devera's just watching this whole, just all this shenaniganry go down. And she's just like, we're on a bit of a tighter schedule. We'll go around.
Nomad would nod and stand up and sort of brush himself off.
But yes, as Mist is now dragging Tyrell along behind her.
Oh, I'm still very much boots firmly planted, just being dragged while I watch the fuckery of this crossings.
A 10 to a 22, she has your ass.
He's just decided not to waste any more spell slots. But he's going to make it take as long as humanly possible for me to drag him.
Oh yeah, you'll be dragged for a while.
That's
Nomad
okay.
You'll be
will,
watching it until it's out of sight.
Nomad will walk up alongside and say, come on, Zero, let's go. I'll buy you a bottle of alcohol. I will buy you alcohol if you comply with us.
But is that as entertaining as 1,000 kobolds?
Nomad sighs and casts Hold Person on Tyrell.
Good, I stopped moving. I can watch them longer. Do I have to make any sort of check against that, actually?
They have to make a wisdom save.
If you're resisting it, then yes. If not, then it just happens.
Am I still able to see the kobolds?
Not for very much longer.
Well, if I'm an elf person, I won't resist it. I'm just gonna watch the kobolds and elf person.
Okay.
Nomad will then grab Tyrrell's feet, and Misty can take his arms, and we'll just carry him like a sack of potatoes off towards the western mountain.
Okay. Hmm? She never rolled a nat 20 again.
Can only do it for the meetings.
But that being said, venturing around the Western Mountains base, it takes, in total, to circumvent this whole area would probably take about 4 hours. However, Misted, Tyrrell, Nomad, need you all three to roll perception.
Oh, would you wait till I'm not at the computer?
18.
Misted's too distracted by Tyrrell. 10.
There it is.
What did back, Hunter?
What's that?
I said, what did back?
I had a cocked die on the screen, but I believe it came out as an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, you got a
It
12.
just showed me. It was showing me the nat 20 and the 8 both glowing at the same time, so I don't know what happened.
You love a weird look.
Alright, well, Nomad. Journeying around this mountain base, you see what looks to be a pathway leading up the mountain.
Interesting.
And as it stands, you are all about right there. And it looks to be heading somewhere over this way, which may cut some time off or anything else. But yeah, you just notice that there's a pathway hidden in the brush.
We take the road less traveled.
I mean, that's up to you all. You're the only one that sees it.
Do Javiris or Eartham notice it?
No.
Nomad would kind of stop and say, there's a path there.
On Nomad pointing it out, Misted would have, or would want to have a little look at it. Would it be game trail or like people path?
Honey, you sound very, very far away.
I'm not at my computer. I am grabbing my.
I said, upon Nomad pointing it out, Misted would have a good look at it. Does it look like a game trail or like people pass through here?
Looks like it is an old path that people used to take.
Misted would shrug. Do we want to go that way? Might cut some time off. Tyrrell, Nomad.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Tyrrell is still being lugged by us two. So Nomad would look at Javiris.
She shrugs.
Man, what's the worst that could happen?
DeVeris' exact response is, well, who knows? Maybe we'll see more kobolds up there.
Does that get a woohoo from Kirill?
Yes, I am in. Tyrell tries to resist the whole person now.
Oh, it's ward off. It only lasts a minute.
Oh, so I just let you guys carry me out of just sheer fuckery.
Yes.
You just allowed this to happen just cause.
It's deserved. You
It
deserve
is.
this.
Okay.
He just wants to be a pretty princess.
So you guys all take this hidden pathway?
Yes.
Misty will be looking out for like animal prints, trying to see if there's any cool wildlife that may have passed this way.
Survival check.
1 sec. Hiya. That'd be a 20. Dirty 20.
Looks like there have in fact been some small animals that have been coming up this pathway.
Bonito. Any easily recognizable prints as to what kind?
Looks to be squirrels and raccoons of some kind of variety.
Okay. Small animals. No big ones.
Along with an elephant footprint. I'm just kidding.
Where's my beefalo?
You mean an aquafont?
No, that was a joke about the fuzz beasts.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
To be honest, I thought you were making a don't starve joke because they're called Beefalo in that game.
Okay. About 10 minutes of traveling up this path, you all see coming over the crest of this mountain, hidden behind the actual peak of this mountain and seemingly just hidden in the shadows of it, you see a tall structure, almost tower-like, and it's overtaken by vines and foliage.
Investigate the tower.
You know, Miss Let's go.
What's up?
Investigate.
All right. Nomad, Tyrell.
Oh, I said I propose that we go investigate the tower.
Okay. Nomad.
Like this is something that would have more impact if we had the other member of our party with us.
Quite likely. Unfortunately, there's nothing to be done about that.
Damn you, legal system! Nomad would look to DeVeris to see if she has any issue with investigating the tower.
Doesn't seem to. In fact, she seems very curious about it as well.
Alright then. Let us investigate the tower.
All right. Stepping up to the base of this tower, it seems very well made. It is still structurally standing. All of it is intact. There are just vines and leaves and whatnot just climbing up the sides of it. There even appears to be a door. If you're talking, I cannot hear you.
What I had said was, does this tower look to be really old or just kind of old?
It's hard to tell through all the leaves and plants.
All the leaves and plants, he says.
but judging by how overgrown these vines and whatnot are, it's probably been here for a long while.
Neat. I'm gonna tromp up to the door.
All right. You are now standing in front of the door.
When Misted looks directly up, does she see windows going up?
There does not seem to be any windows per se, but there does seem to be an opening towards the top.
I bet we can get a good view of where we're going from up there. And Misted's going to try to open the door.
Okay. Easy enough. Door opens.
Door opens.
Minus, pushing through all the vines and plants and whatnot, but yeah, it opens.
In I get.
All right. You all see Misted wander into this tower.
And she was never seen again. The plants gobbled her up.
Well, there's no screaming from inside, so...
That's good. At least she died quickly.
Follow?
Tyrell would follow.
Yes.
Okay. Tyrell would also enter into the tower.
Nomad.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm follow.
In we get.
All right. Inside the tower is very dark and very dusty. And there looks to be a spiraling staircase that leads up.
Up we get.
Okay.
Watch out that they don't do the thing the stairs did in Mario 64.
No.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo- Yep, you'll slide backwards into Nomad. Metal ass cheeks, while cushy, in one sense, are not the kind of thing you'd like to land on.
But no, you ascend these stairs. It's creaky, and it makes the sound until it comes to Nomad and Earth, and there's
Delightful.
But as you all come up to what looks to be a flat section of this room, or of this tower, you are now standing in what looks to be a very large platformed room with a domed top, and in the center of this room there appears to be a there's a platform that holds a pedestal, and the pedestal has a carved top which looks to have once housed a large spherical object of some kind. And looking on the floor of this large room, you notice that there's a glyph or a sigil on the floor buried underneath dust and foliage. And looking up appears to be depictions of stars. And looking out, there appears to be a balcony that surrounds the outside. But you can't really see much of the balcony as you are still inside.
Well, Misted is going to walk towards the balcony and see what she can see from up high.
Okay. You see the entire western coast of Vanaru,
Dope.
including 3 islands out in the water.
But do I see any kobolds?
You do not see any kobolds.
I'm sorry, Tyrrell. But I can very plainly see down the other side of the mountain, right?
Not entirely. You can see on the northern slope.
Okay.
Off the distance, you see a giant black mountain with what looks to be a very, very large city sprawling from it.
And I know that to be the Obsidian Spire.
That is
And the
the
Black
Obsidian Spire, and that is Abcassis.
And I know that to be that, right?
Yep. And underneath you is the vast spreading forest of Jurnice.
Most excellent, my dude. I'm assuming I can also see Timberfall.
Not clearly.
A little bit blocked by the angle of the mountain.
It's blocked by the canopy of trees.
Sad. Party members, are you alive? After seeing what she can see, Mistin's going to turn around and stride back into the room and have a look at the glyphs on the floor.
Okay. Being one very educated in this particular manner, you recognize this glyph as being the emblem of Kairu.
Okay.
That this is the emblem of the Crown of Hope.
And would I have any idea what this tower's purpose would have served? Like, would this be something that was common?
Not entirely common, but it looks to have been an observatory.
Excellent.
And Elbrick seems to be having a particularly negative reaction to this location.
Ah, delightful.
Well, not negative, but he's having a reaction to it.
Is he doing his zone out having a vision episode?
More like he's zoned out panicking.
Ah. Perfection.
Nomad, Tyrrell.
It's tough because I know the significance of this, but Nomad would not be able to put 2 and 2 together because he has not seen this.
Mhm.
And
Oh.
without the character with the capability to understand the significance of this place here to assist us,
Elbrick
is
would
really-
recognize it.
yeah.
Tyrrell, what would you like to do? Tyrrell's dead again.
That's you, Goodyear man.
But, that being said, Elbrick does recognize this. And to Nomad, Misted, and Tyrrell directly, does in fact reveal that this is the exact location he saw in his first vision while holding the black orb. And I am being asked to take another 5-minute break.
Okay.
So we will be back at, well, for about 7:30.
the significance of this space and what it is, as far as it being some kind of observatory.
Okay.
Misted would flop on the ground. Just yank the sketchbook out of the pack, look up, and start doodling the ceiling.
Okay.
She is now lost in the sauce. Good luck, boys.
All right. Nomad, Tyrrell.
Is he alive?
Yes, I fought off the good blimp man.
Okay.
I didn't even send them this time. Somebody else is after you.
There are many after me.
But yes, Elbrig, I believe Quinn would not be too upset with me to reveal specifically, as in the interest of Elbrig and in the means of Elbrig, quietly relaying to specifically Misted, Tyrrell, and Nomad, not to Devirus or Eartham, so whispering that this is the exact location he saw in his vision holding the black orb. This is where he saw the Einkorr gathered while holding, and he recounts the black orb, the white orb, and then stops for a moment, and a gray orb. But the third one you have is not gray. It's orange and red and glowing. But that this is in fact the exact location he saw all of them gathered in. And looking over the balcony, distinctly remembers those 3 islands. But that they were in a lake, not in the ocean. And that's where he saw the 3 towers coming out of. The 3 spires. Yes, Elbrig would reveal that to the lot of you. That this is in fact the exact location he remembered Kairu was standing in when he had that vision.
Would just kind of whisper back and say, is it possible that we have to take these orbs to each of the islands? Is maybe one represented by each island?
That is where I will kind of cut off how much I'm willing to speak for Elbrig, because I don't know Elbrig's thought process on this.
Okay.
Would it be
Reasonable?
well? I'm trying to figure out whether, because this seems like a very significant point in the story. Would it be better for us to call it for the evening and wait until next week to see if Quinn's available, or would it be reasonable to hand wave and say that the party spends a certain amount of time here doing whatever they need to do in order to gain more information before moving on, and then we can roleplay that next week when Quinn's here?
I will say that for the time, if you guys are okay with it as your characters would be okay with it, the idea of, yes, having a sufficient amount of time here, even including Devirus and Eartham, if you need to or want to discuss possibilities of this location, significance of it, whatnot, and what forth, and that you guys do have the option later on in the campaign or in the sessions going forward to return to this location.
Yeah.
As you now know how to get here. So I will say that it is an option. I will allow you guys to know that it is an option to return to this location.
Why don't we say that the party spends at least a couple hours here, or maybe an hour, maybe like an hour or half an hour, or however. It probably wouldn't take like too long, but it would be a period of time in which we spend discussing the possibilities of, everything going on with this.
Okay.
And then move on after that, and we can sort of play that out next week.
All right. Are you guys all okay with this?
Yeah.
We'll do it in the middle of the flashback for next week.
All right. Andrew, you okay with this?
Yeah, I can agree to that. Like you said, either do that or call it here for the night and wait till next. But either way, works for me.
I mean, we still have a decent amount of time left of the session.
Okay.
All right. So you guys spend a decent amount of time here going over possibilities and your thoughts and whatnot, and come to the, I'm going to assume, understanding that those three islands are in fact the exact same ones that Albrecht saw in his vision.
Yes.
But
However much else we discover, I suppose, will be dependent on how the discussion actually unfolds.
Mhm. but that in general understanding and common sense that there's no easy way to access them from your current location.
Yes.
And so weighing options and whatnot would eventually go to make your way back down the tower and continue on your journey through Timberfall to Abcassis.
I need to use the restroom. I will be right back.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and say that for this time, it takes about another 8 hours tops before you all would make your way into Timberfall. And by the time you all reach Timberfall, it is 8 o'clock at night. And the sun is about to fully set. I'm sorry, not 8 hours, 4 hours. My lord, I was doing the math wrong. As it looks like there is also a path that leads down to the other side of the mountain. And Misted, you now have the accurate sketch of the ceiling, as well as the emblem on the floor, and I would assume the islands in the distance.
Yeah.
All right. Tyrrell, anything you would like to do during that trek?
Nothing comes to mind currently, no.
All right. Reaching Timberfall late in the evening, it is about 8 o'clock at night. The party, you find yourselves in a lush forest where trees block out most light, allowing only what light passes through the leaves and canopy to illuminate the forest floor. And reaching into Timberfall, you find it rich in herbs and lumber, with the very homes built into the trees themselves and wildlife roaming fearlessly through the village. There don't seem to be any inns or taverns. There seems to be just a pass-through town, or pass-through village. Just the occasional wildlife, rabbits, deer, foxes, etc., roaming about, kind of nonchalant and rather unimposed to the humanoid presence and the presence of others around them. And following Devirus and Eartham's lead, they lead you all to a house, a very humble house, built into a grove of trees, which Devirus remarks is the destination that the two of them have been seeking. That this is the House of Shadowsong. And stepping onto the property itself, you are met with the sound of music, very somber, very sad, and the sound of singing, which is a very sad song, as well as the sight of a singular candle lit in a window. And approaching the door, De Veers gives a very soft knock, and the door opens to reveal a halfling with dark brown hair and a rather ornate-looking coat. Very, very well dressed, and is currently smoking a pipe. And sees them and gets a beaming smile on his face. And De Veers motions to the candle and mentions that her heart weighs heavy, that it still needs to be lit. To which Madras, the halfling, nods and somewhat dismisses the notion and states that it makes him feel a bit more at peace, that he can at least do something to find a small sense of comfort. And invites all of you in.
It's going to look around. Are we going in?
Tyrrell,
Tim would nod and start making his way in and thank him.
alright.
I'm back.
Nomad,
Mm-hmm.
coming back, you have entered into Timberfall, the lush forest, which blocks out most light. Only the forest floor is illuminated by the light through the leaves and the trees. And you find Timberfall, which is rich in lumber and herbs, with homes built into the trees themselves and the wildlife roaming fearlessly, unhindered through the village. And make your way to a humble house built into the grove of trees that De Veers and Eartham revealed to be Madras's home. And as you all approached, you heard the sounds of music and singing, being a very sad song. And see a singular candle burning in a window. They knock on the door, and Madras welcomes everyone in, with De Veers stating that her heart weighs heavy, that he still needs to light that candle. And that Madras replied by somewhat dismissing the notion by stating that it makes him feel a bit more at peace, that he can do something at least to find a small sense of comfort, and invites everyone in. And that Tyrrell and Misted have both accepted this invitation to go in.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Nomad would also go in.
All right. Madras is quite happy to see another halfling, as it has been some times as he's actually seen another halfling. And the two, between Elbrig and Madras, share stories and whatnot, with Madras revealing that he was not actually born in Vanaru, that he also hails from the Sprawl. But he's from Onaloria. Where Elbrig knows the ramifications of that, and both just kind of agree that where Madras is born does not define who he is. But he welcomes you all in and gives you all a place to stay for the night. And agrees to join De Veers and Eartham to go visit their friends Oris and Sinfori. Is there anything you all would like to do in this evening, or anything you would like to ask, investigate?
I mean, Misted's going to spend a little bit of time poring over her sketches from the tower, and touching up any sketches she did of the scenery.
Okay. Tyrrell?
I guess ask him what he's doing all the way out here.
You're asking Madras?
Yeah.
Okay. Madras looks at you. Well, this is my home. built this house, and I live here. It's away from civilization, and it's away from people.
That's definitely fair.
And he even makes the comment that he doesn't spend much time at home, as it brings too many memories, and prefers to spend as little time home as he possibly can.
Mm.
And one thing that all of you notice is that he does, in fact, have a tattoo on the underside of his left forearm that has been turned completely black.
Mm.
Cool, bye.
And upon entering into Madris's home and everyone getting comfortable, Eartham and Aviras both remove their cloaks, where you can now see Eartham in his full armor. It is very heavy plate armor. Not very ornate, kind of resemblant to what Nomad used to be wearing. It is very thrown together and worked for the purpose intended. And with Deviris, she takes the cloak off and is wearing these very, very beautiful, very long robes. And one thing that is particularly that stands out is the fact that she has deep scarring on both of her wrists all the way around, as well as a bit of scarring around her neck. But Madris makes you all some food, prepares some drinks for you all, and prepares places for all of you to sleep, minus Deviris and Nomad, as he
Okay.
has come to learn that Nomad functions a lot like Deviris, and instead just offers you all a place to sit.
Ah, yes. The sound of a chair creaking as metal ass cheeks softly settle into it.
But is there anything else Tyrell and Misted and Nomad you would like to do or address this evening?
No, I believe I'm all good.
Alright. I do know one thing that Elbrig would like to address, most likely, which is the Archdruid that he has heard resides out here near Timberfall, which Magus is, in fact, aware of the Archdruid, is unaware of what his actual name is, but they call him the Walker of the Woods. And Madris, while he is aware of the Archdruid, knows that no one really approach him, as the Archdruid is wary of outsiders and does not trust easily. In fact, he has sentinel trees that guard his home, which is a grove deep in the forest that no one seems to remember where it is, or those that do aren't here anymore. The sentinel trees ward off any who would approach his home without his say-so. And even that there are rumors of pixies, fairies, and other strange folk that live in the woods near his home or inside of his home that can cause confusion and disorientation and render those that come across it to sometimes be lost, and in some cases be lost forever. And gently rubs his arm while saying this. But that's people typically leave him to his own devices and don't interfere or venture too deep into the woods alone for that reason. But as the evening falls, you all find a very comfortable rest and find yourselves waking up in the morning. It's about 8 o'clock to Major's having made breakfast and second breakfast.
An absolute hero.
And that Eartham has already been up and gone about and has begun gathering up anything he needs. Devirus is gathering up supplies that she may need and is helping Majors to pack in preparation for their travel. So, Tyrrell, Misted Nomad, is there anything else you would like to do before setting out? Anything you would like to address or anyone you would like to speak to?
Well, Mist is definitely going to thank them for the overnight stay and the delicious breakfast.
Majors has a big smile and says, it wasn't my recipe, but I'll thank you nonetheless.
Who made the recipe is not important. You made the food.
Fair is fair.
There are two ways.
Just gonna leave that there.
There's two ways into a tabaxi's heart, or at least Misted's heart. One of them is food, and the other one only Trinla knows.
There is one way into Nomad's heart. Don't open the hatch.
With a tool set.
Open the hatch.
There's one way to Nomad's heart with a tool set.
Yep. You don't want to open it, though.
Alright.
Nomad would nod in agreement with Misted giving thanks.
And you see as everyone is packed and prepared for the journey ahead, you see Majors walk over and replaces the candle in the window with a brand new fresh one, this one oddly colored, and has strange markings engraved into the wax, strikes a match and lights the candle, and then walks outside. Alright. Tyrrell, Nomad, Misted.
Onwards to Abkassus. I assume.
Oh, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, I would say we continue.
Misty is ready. Let's go.
Alright.
You may think that you're ready.
And as you all begin to depart, you see Devirus look back towards the house and then turns to Majors. Are you sure it's okay to leave it? And Majors looks at her. Yeah, I've already asked Yvonne to watch the house. He's pretty accustomed to it already. And as you all begin to go about your travels, Majors states that he's, delighted that Nomad has come as far as he has, and also remarks on Nomad's new set of armor.
I would not say I would not have made it as far as I have if not for my companions, and the armor was a gift.
And he just nudges Eartham. Perhaps you're due for a tune-up too. And Eartham just looks at him. Maybe. One day. Not now. Yeah. And Madras takes note of the fact that Nomad has accompanied himself with one that looks to be a planar hunter, which is no small feat, that another of his companions is memorable to him as being part of the archive of Aster, that he recalls seeing misted there at one point, and also with what looks to be a scholar of magic, as he has noticed all of Elbrig's spell books and materials and whatnot, and detects magical significance to the lantern that Samson wears. And he begins to happily regale you guys with stories and legends of the land, singing songs of the Forsaken Five's former deeds and performing small feats of magic to accompany, to occupy your time during your journey, telling stories of creatures they've encountered, espionage and tales and possibly falsified tales, or at least exaggerated tales of dangerous situations that they've been in and whatnot. And even goes so far as to begin revealing Eartham's greatest blunders and whatnot, but also his greatest triumphs. And Devirus's feats of incredible magical prowess, that all of them had succumbed at one point or another and all at the same time to other forms of illness and injury, only to all be nursed back to health by Sinfori. That she has always seemed to be more of a mother figure to them, and that they would not be anywhere near as famous as they are if it not for Oris, not because of her lineage, but because of her bold and often bullheadedness of getting them into trouble and then somehow finding a way out of it. That they were rambunctious and wild, and while it was not meant to last for as long as it did, that he is happy that it did last as long as it had. And that he cannot wait to see his two friends again and see how they are doing.
I imagine they're going to be very busy.
And May just kind of rubs his hands together, and perhaps that means they'll have another mission for the three of us, huh? And looks at Devirus and Eartham. Devirus then looks at him with kind of a sad look, and I was hoping to have a bit more time here at home, but if we are needed, then I suppose we are needed. And May just looks at Eartham. Eartham's got no problem moving around, do you, big guy? And Eartham just keeps looking straight forward and just keeps walking. But as the last remaining time of travel begins to pass in and pass out, the days seeming to blend together and doesn't seem to take much time at all, thanks to Madris's stories and songs and his just small acts of joy and fun. You find yourselves approaching what looks to be the site of a massive city built around a black stone mountain, where you can see that this city is split into several levels, layers, rings, which all lead up to a great fortress within the highest ring, near the peak of this mountain. There now on the outside the clearing of these trees, you see the Obsidian Spire Mountain, as well as Abcassis. And that is where we're going to call it for the evening.
Mainly because it's getting increasingly more difficult to focus on this and also deal with the never-ending stream of blip attacks. What is going on today? Andrew, what did you do?
Nothing. What do you mean?
I will see you all next week.